Why that old high world? I am back with another couple of daily Murdle mystery puzzles today. Just quickly check my stream. I think it's running okay. All right, Murdle mystery. Let's make sure everything is okay. There's this and that. Okay, no. Oops, it's my OBS. There we go. All right, let's just. And I've got. Here, now let's just refresh that quickly. 2 minutes to check out my stream or something. All right, today's Myrtle mystery puzzle. The main one for today is the case of the tea bag. Myrtle for February 10th, 2026. All right, I'm going to quickly solve this one, and then do this over by making notes. We'll do it a little slower. So poison tea was used to commit the murder. So that's how or what. Okay, and this one we have to figure out who, what, where, why, who, how, where, why, whatever, if you want to say how. Oh, I like saying what. What? All right. And this is a forest ranger got murdered. Clues and evidence. And as always, I'm going to do this without using the grid. I'm going to do this mostly in my head. Pretty much in my head. At least the main solution, not the full solution. Bishop hated the person who brought a brick. Right? Okay. Miss Ruby brought a bow, an arrow, or Miss Ruby was in a high-end tent. Bow and arrow or high-end tent. She was in a... Oh! Okay. Someone who clearly wanted to break into the industry was seen outdoors. Break into industry, outdoors, outdoor location. Ruby got ancient ruins, outdoors. Old pine is outdoors. High-end tent. Okay. Break into industry is not high-end tent. Well, logical contacts. So the person who wanted the... This is just backwards. The person who wanted to fight for the revolution. Fight for revolution was by the old pine. So that's location. Motive, location, motive, location. Fight for revolution, old pine. And this was not high intent. These two, I like using those. Ancient ruins had heavyweight weapons. Check the weapons. So you can remember you can click this. Poison tea, bow and arrow, brick. So not brick. Ancient ruins was not the brick, right? This is motive. This is weapon and location. Inherit fortune had gray eyes. Gray eyes? Okay, Duchess of Vermilion. Vermilion had gray eye. Wanted to inherit a fortune. Vermilion wanted to inherit a fortune. So we've got break into industry. Vermilion. Break into industry. That's one. Seen outdoors. Fight for revolution. Old pine. That's a separate one. Break into industry. Fight for revolution. Inherit fortune. That's the third one. Motives. Inherit fortune. Fight for revolution. Break into... yeah, there's just three. I thought there was 4 people. There's only 3. So... Inherit Fortune was Vermilion. Fight for Revolution was by Old Pine. Vermilion is not at the Old Pine. No. There's whoever was at the Old Pine. Break-Ins Industry was outdoors. Break-Ins Industry was outdoors, couldn't be Old Pine then. Break-Ins Industry was Ancient Ruins. Break-Ins Industry was Ancient Ruins, so we've got Ancient Ruins, Old Pine, right? So she wasn't, since she was used to commit the murder. So she was at the other location, third location. She was indoors. She was at the high intent. She was at the high intent. No, Mrs. Ruby brought a bow and arrow. Right. She brought a bow and arrow. Amelia's high intent. Bishop Desert didn't bring a brick, and he didn't. So it's Bishop Desert. He didn't bring a brick or a bow and arrow. Okay, so if he brought, so he was either, he wasn't at the high intent. This was Old Pine. This was the other Ancient Ruins. Heavyweight weapon. Ancient Ruins had heavyweight weapon. Bow and arrow. Okay, Vermilion had the brick, right? Heavy weapons. Vermilion had the brick then. Yeah. So he had the poison tea. Vermilion had the brick. He had the poison tea. Miss Ruby brought a bow and arrow. He was outdoors then. Ancient Ruins had a heavyweight weapon. Ancient Ruins had a heavyweight weapon. Could be him, Bishop, Reserve, or her. And this was the Old Pine. Trying to place them now. Clearly wanted to break into industry or scene outdoors. He's either break into industry with a heavyweight weapon. Break into industry or scene outdoors. Revolution. So he wasn't Inherit of Fortune. He's not. He didn't fight for Revolution. Okay, I'm stumped for a second. And clearly wants to break. He has the poison tea, and she was not. Okay, she's not in high end tent. There we go. I almost forgot about that. She wasn't in the high end tent. So a bow and arrow is not heavyweight. A bow and arrow was medium weight. So she wasn't at the Ancient Ruins. She wasn't at the Ancient Ruins. She wasn't at the high end tent. She was actually at the Old Pine. If she was at the Old Pine, okay, he isn't at the Old Pine. She was at the Old Pine. Oh yeah, so it's him. He wanted to break into the industry, and he was at the other location, the Ancient Ruins. Yeah, I just want to be sure. Pretty sure. No, I'm sure. Got it. Alright, that was done in my head. That took me a little longer today. It always takes me longer when I'm talking out loud, speaking out loud for it. Today's Murdle in 8 minutes 23 seconds. That was alright. I didn't actually do this last night before bed or this morning. So doing this fresh on stream while talking about it also took me a bit of time. That's alright. Anyways, that one's solved. I just want to say how I did. That's how I did today with the main Myrtle. Now, if doing this in my head, let's do this. Let's try this out with making notes and see how we do. So for making notes, yeah, this would view this. Right, we've got the case of the teabag murder for February 10th, 2026. Detective Logico had hoped to enjoy a nice evening at the nature resort, but unfortunately a forest ranger had to go and get murdered. Now, let's look at all the suspects. So it's 333 and 333 and 3. 3 suspects, 3 weapons, 3 locations, and 3 motives. Mrs. Ruby was an international. Mrs. Ruby is an international jewel thief, playgirl, and all-around charmer. She knows how to party and kill, but has she settled down? I don't know. We don't know. She is 5'6", right-handed, with green eyes, red hair, and is a Libra. Bishop Azur, a bishop in the church. Azur has been known to pray for both her friends and her enemies. Of course, she asks for different things. She is 5'4", right-handed, with brown eyes and brown hair, and is a Gemini. The Duchess of Vermilion. The Duchess is a tall old woman. This is a typo. Tall. They probably meant to write is an old woman, but then they added in tall and then forgot to change this. The Duchess is a tall old woman with tall old secrets. If she is the murderer, then it certainly wouldn't be the first time. She is 5'9", left-handed, with gray eyes, white hair, and is a Pisces. Excuse me, I have allergies. They haven't cleared out. They haven't cleared out yet this morning. This afternoon. Weapons. Poison tea. Hot and spicy. The spice is poison. Logical. Could imagine someone getting poisoned with something like this. For evidence of this, look for a tea bag left behind. A bow and arrow. Look at this thing. What a beauty. Look at the linen bowstring and the beautiful feathers on the arrows. It's medium weight and made of wood. A brick. Red, chipped, and heavy. Logico had heard of people being bashed with something like this. It can be identified by a chip of red clay left behind. Locations. The ancient ruins. I already have Murder Volume 1. These same ancient ruins have appeared in several places, haven't they? Maybe they are connected somehow. The old pine. The oldest pine in the forest. It used to be the second oldest pine, but they chopped down the oldest one to build the spa. It's outdoors. Oh, this is outdoors. A high-end tent. A canvas tent that costs $10,000 a night to stay in is called glamping, which is a portmanteau of camping and glad we kept the pores out. No, I'm pretty sure it's a portmanteau of glamour and camping. And it's indoors. Motives. To inherit a fortune. One of the oldest reasons to murder right after God liking your brother's sacrifice more. To fight for the revolution. Power to the people. But first, power to this one particular warlord. To break into the industry. People will do anything to break into the industry. Even kill. Especially kill. Okay. So 3, 3, 3, 3. Yeah, for a second I spaced and thought it was 4, and didn't realize like I had 3 suspects. 3 suspects were mentioned in the clue. All right, so we're gonna do this by kind of in your head, but making notes instead. So we know poison tea is used to commit the murder, so that is the weapon. And unfortunately, I can't like refresh it. I could do it in a brand new incognito window. It's fine. We don't really care about the time for when we're making notes. Bishop Azur hated the person who brought a brick. Poison tea was used to commit the murder. So if we were to make notes instead for this, we could do Azur. Oh, we got the. I gotta get this thing set up every time. Why does it just show anyways? Show the equation. New equation, right? Azur was not a brick. Did not bring a brick, right? Type that. Ruby. Oh, this one's a tricky one, right? Ruby is, maybe what I'll do is put these off like this. Bow and arrow or tent. High-end tent. Actually, it should be fine if I just put bow and arrow without the... Does that make it clear for people? It should be clear for people. Ruby was either... she was either the bow and arrow or the tent. So she equals the bow and arrow or the tent, but not both, right? One or the other. Yeah, I guess maybe that's confusing if you think of the slash as division. But it's not. Or. Either or. Ruby is either bow and arrow or tent. Someone who clearly wanted to break into industry was seen outdoors. So this was a suspect and weapon clue. And then that's also a suspect, weapon, and location clue. Yeah, so let's put the next one here because it is a motive and location clue. So we've got outdoors, right? We saw outdoors would be ancient ruins outdoors, old pine is outdoors, the high-end tent is indoors. So break into industry was not the high-end tent. Tent. Again, with the not equals. Break. Oops. Got the space. Nope. Break into industry. That's a motive clue. Location and motive clue. And the next one's also, we saw, was also a location and motive clue. One of Logical's contacts in the Golden Faith, the Hidden Earth, gave him this tip. The person who wanted to fight for the revolution was by the old pine. So old pine, that's the location. Old pine is the location, right? And fight for the revolution. Whoever was by the ancient ruins had a heavyweight weapon. So now we have weapon and location. Let's put the weapon location clue here. Heavyweight weapon at the ancient ruins. Our weapons are this. Poison tea. Heavyweight. Bow and arrow's medium weight. Brick is heavyweight. So not the bow and arrow. So we go back to this bow and arrow clue. Bow and arrow, right, was not at the ancient ruins. Yes, actually, that's immediately right there. Bow and arrow is not the ancient ruins. Bow and arrow cannot be at the tent because Ruby was either or. She either had a bow and arrow or was at the tent. So that means a bow and arrow cannot be at the tent. I forgot about that. I think my brain had that subconsciously. But I mean, because we immediately ruled out that she wasn't at the high intent, right? So we knew bow and arrow wasn't there. But just to verbalize it, in case you need to come about it some other way, bow and arrow is not the tent. So bow and arrow is not the ancient ruins. Bow and arrow was not the tent. So it's at the last location, which was the old pine. Yeah. So bow and arrow actually got that right away. Was at the old pine then, because it's not at the ancient ruins. Heavy weapon. Not at the ancient ruins. Not can't be in the tent, right? It's at the old pine. So actually, let's change this immediately and switch this to bow and arrow was at the old pine. I should have saw that a lot sooner that time. See how writing it out can help, typing it out or writing it out helps you. It's easier to see the connection sometimes. So bow and arrow is at the old pine. It's still fine, but we still don't know where Ruby is. So bow and arrow is at the old pine. And that means, yeah, fight for the revolution. Let's do this. Paste that there then. So for, yeah, so now we've got all of that. And which clue were we on? What was the ancient ruins heavyweight weapon? Oh, sorry. Ancient ruins heavyweight weapon is still not old pine. Oh, no, we still need to have the ancient ruin clue down. Heavyweight weapon. Heavyweight weapon. It wasn't, yeah, it's not a bow and arrow. Actually, we didn't need to have that. We still needed to have that out. Bow and arrow, not ancient ruins. But the bow and arrow, sorry, because this is about the ancient ruins. So it was either the, what were the other two weapons? A brick and poison tea. So we're gonna have to do it this way. Poison tea or brick was at the ancient ruins then. Haven't ruled out the other ones. I don't know, like, I like the not equals, but then sometimes you need to do this. Whoever wanted to inherit a fortune had gray eyes, and we saw this earlier, the gray eyes. Duchess of Vermilion. Vermilion wanted to inherit a fortune. So this is location, Vermilion, and, okay, person and suspect and motive. Suspect and motive, right? I'll just put her here. Vermilion wanted to inherit a fortune. So now we actually see this a little better. This is one. Fight for the revolution, break into industry, inherit fortune. So those refer to our three suspects. So this one's not Vermilion. And Azure didn't bring a brick. Oh, we can't figure out that one yet. So Vermilion wanted to inherit fortune. Ruby could have brought a bow and arrow or a tent. Wait, how did I rule out the tent? Vermilion wanted to inherit fortune. Ah, that's what we did. Vermilion wanted to inherit fortune. Tent was not break into industry. Oh, yes. Okay. Break into industry. Someone clear wanted to break into industry was seen outdoors. Break into industry. Yeah, it was not the tent because I was indoors. Break into industry wasn't the old pine. So break into industry was the ancient ruins, right? So Vermilion was not at the ancient ruins or the old pine. She was actually at a tent. Might just remove the equals here. I use that for writing clues, but we've got these deductions. So it's going to be sort of almost there. Ancient ruins, break into industry, Vermilion. Almost have that. We just need to figure out her weapon. This is still a clue. So these are our three suspects, right? So now we know that Ruby was not at the tent, so Ruby had a bow and arrow, right? So this is Ruby. Was that Mrs. Ruby? Had a bow and arrow at the old pine. She wanted to fight for the revolution. The weapon was poison tea. The weapon was poison tea. I didn't actually put that down here, did I? I usually do it this way. Weapon was poison tea. Insurance. Right. So poison tea or brick was at the ancient ruins. We still don't know that, but Azur didn't have the brick. Azur didn't have the brick, and he didn't have the bow and arrow, so Azur had the poison tea, right? If he didn't have the brick or that, so Azur had the poison tea. Just get rid of these clues because it's down here now. Right, so if he had the poison tea or the brick was at the ancient ruins, right? Poison tea or the brick was at the ancient ruins. He hated the person who brought a brick, right? Ruby brought, oh yeah, and this is here, fortune bringing industry, fight for revolution, old pine, ruins, tent. And Azur, oh, this has to be Azur with the poison tea, actually, sorry. I keep forgetting, I keep thinking there's 4 suspects and things, but there isn't, so that's it. So he brought, so that's our final solution. Azur, poison tea, ancient ruins, and he wanted to break into the industry. And the rest of it, I think, is actually already filled out, right? Mrs. Ruby had the bow and arrow. She was at the old pine. Fight for the revolution. This was Bishop Azur, who's the murderer, with poison tea at the ancient ruins and break into industry. And Duchess of Vermilion. So she has the remaining weapon, which was the brick. In her tent, and she wanted to inherit a fortune. Poison tea by the ancient ruins to break into the industry. And that's your answer using the notes, by taking notes. Alright, let's go back. Let's go back to separate views, go over here. Let's go here. And now, you know, let's do this. We're gonna do this slightly easier way. And I feel like using the grid is easier. It is a beginner's tool, but it also kind of like, you know, if you're having trouble keeping things in your head and you don't want to type out notes or whatever, I like typing out notes. I don't like using the grid sometimes. There are some clues like clues like this don't lend itself to being put in the grid easily. So I guess because they put. Yeah, but now they have, like, you can put a question mark, but, like, on pen and paper, I didn't want to put question marks all over the place and then erase them. So, if we were gonna use the grid, right, go through the clue, go over here. We know poison tea was used to commit the murder. You put that down here as part of your solution. And then, you know, I didn't check my full solution. I didn't do the full solution in my head last, did I? Thought I did. Let me see. Did I do the full solution in my head? Because Bishop is a poison tea by the ancient ruins, which means Bishop, Yeah, no, I did it in head mostly. I said because Mrs. Ruby brought a bow and arrow, right? Um, and she was at the old pine and she wanted to fight for the revolution, and the Duchess of Vermilion would have had the remaining thing, which would be the brick, and she's the last one. And then she was in a tent. Inherit a fortune. Okay, yeah, it's fine. So, Bishop Azur. My goodness, these icons, like, that doesn't tell me much, you know that? It really doesn't. That's supposed to be tea, I guess. Poison tea. Ancient ruins. Break into, oh, it's an industry icon. Break into industry. Mrs. No, this is the Duchess of Vermilion. Had a brick tent and inherit fortune. And Mrs. Ruby with a bow and arrow at the old pine. And that's a fist, so she went to fight for the revolution. I honestly really wish they just put text here because these icons don't work for me at all. And there's no hover over here. There's a hover over here. Honestly, they could put the icon and the text or something. Said it before, emoticons are harder than reading Chinese. Alright, so let's put these clues into the grid and try to solve it that way. Poison tea was used to commit the murder, so poison tea, this is the murder weapon. We can't highlight it anyway. In any way. You can only do that. Alright, Bishop Azur hated the person who brought brick. Bishop Azur did not bring a brick. Put that clue in. If you want, you can do this. I did notice that early on, but I never do that. In case I have to refer back to it. Right? Because you might refer back to it, especially when it's a not clue. I would do that with the things that were like is. Whoever wants to inherit fortune had gray hair. That's an is one. That is definitely a true. She had gray hair. We saw that earlier. Sorry, gray eyes. Whoever wants to inherit fortune had gray eyes. So that's a true one. Duchess of Vermilion wanted to inherit fortune. So that's a true one. We could probably do that for that because we know that's true. Right? Inherit fortune, gray eyes. I said gray hair, didn't I? I don't know why. And I was thinking it, and I said gray eyes. Not green eyes. Gray eyes. Vermilion had gray eyes, and she wants to inherit fortune. Bishop Azur hated the person who brought bread. Mrs. Ruby. So this is one that you can't easily put in, but I guess you could do if you really want. And try to remember that's an either or thing you're putting. Maybe with this, you can put a question mark. Mrs. Ruby brought bow and arrow or was in a high-end tent. Do that if you want. But not both. You have to remember these either or. And I'm not going to cross that out or this one. Someone who clearly wanted to break into the industry was seen outdoors. Break into industry was seen outdoors. So we go to the outdoors. There's the ancient ruins, old pine, and not high-end tent. So it's another not clue. Break into industry was not the tent. There's the motive. Break into industry, not the tent. I'm gonna leave that too. Okay, what allergic was contact? Blah blah blah. The person who wanted to fight for the revolution was at the old pines. That one's okay. Fight for revolution, old pine. Got fight for the revolution, and old pines. That's confirmed. And we immediately know now that inherit fortune, person who wanted to inherit fortune was in a tent. So that's helpful. Got that right away. And this one, break into industry, was at the ancient ruins. So whoever was by the ancient ruins had a heavyweight weapon. And we saw earlier heavyweight weapons, poison tea, or a brick. So not bow and arrow. Ancient ruins, not the bow and arrow, right? Now let's go back to this. High-end tent. Mrs. Ruby had a bow and arrow, or was it a high-end tent? So now we got all these clues put in for the most part. Oh, see, this also means bow and arrow is not high-end tent because it was not both, right? Bow and arrow, not the high-end tent. Right, and there we go. And then because of that, now we have bow and arrow was at the old pine. Bow and arrow was at the old pine. That still doesn't help us with that. But where is the old pine? Who was at the old pine? Where's the old pine? We have that here. Old pine. This one. We said that here. Old pine. So this is why I don't like checking them. I don't like old pine. Maybe put check mark next to it. But anyways, old pine. Fight for the revolution, right? So old pine fight for the revolution. Bow and arrow. So whoever had the bow and arrow was at the old pine and wanted to fight for the revolution. So just making sure. Okay, so this was Vermilion. This actually feels a lot somehow harder this time using the grid. Vermilion had grid. Okay. Ancient ruins had a heavyweight weapon. Ancient ruins had a heavyweight weapon, so it was either poison tea or brick. Bishop Azur hated the person who brought the brick. He didn't have a brick. Bishop Azur didn't have a brick. Did I not put that in? Yeah, I did put that in. So Mrs. Ruby had bow and arrow, or she was in high intent. We still don't know. Right, yeah, there. High intent. Wanted to inherit fortune. Yeah, there we go. Now we do. Yes, there we go. Inherit fortune, inherit fortune. Inherit fortune is in the high intent then. Inherit fortune, high intent, inherit fortune, high intent. That's Vermilion was in the high intent. So now we know Mrs. Ruby was not in the tent, so she wasn't in the tent, so this has to be an X now. Right? That's an X, and this is she had the bow and arrow. Do that. Pine, right? Which means Bishop Azur had the poison tea at the ancient ruins. And what was the industry one? Break into the industry. And she had the brick. And that's our answers. Those are all our answers. If you want, you can fill up the rest of it just to make it look nice. Just to make it look nice, we can do that. And that. And this one. It also helps us double check it. So those are our answers, as we saw. So the weapon was poison tea, so it's Bishop Azur, right? And ancient ruins, and to break into the industry. So we got Bishop Azur, tea, ancient ruins. Just look at the icons. There's a factory. We got Duchess of Vermilion. Duchess of Vermilion There's a brick, a tent, and she wanted to inherit it for it. She wanted money. And this is Mrs. Ruby with a bow and arrow with the tree and fight for the revolution right there. There we go. And that's today's main Murdle mystery solved. The case of the tea bag. So let's just read this. Deductive, logical. I keep saying logical. Deductive logical had hoped to enjoy a nice evening at the nature resort, but unfortunately a forest ranger had to go and get murdered. Like that. We looked at all the weapons already. It was Bishop Azur with poisoned tea by the ancient ruins. Why? To break into the industry. While Bishop Azur protested her innocence, she lost confidence as Deductive Logical explained the case against her, and she knew she was caught. You'll be damned for this, Logical, she said. Deductive Logical watched her be led away, knowing it was the last time he would see of her. And that concludes the case of the tea bag. Alright. And I'm going to also share how we did, which I did that. Could do that. Making sure it's the same. It's the same, 823. Okay. So, now let's do the mini Murdle. I'm going to do that one really quickly, and then we'll go over it. While I use the note-taking method, I'll explain it. So I'll solve it quickly and then explain it after, actually. Mini Murdle. Hints. Memorable case. Particularly memorable. Did we have this one before? Laptop was used to commit the murder. So it was a laptop. I think we had this one before. Is this the same one as before? Oh my god, did it just actually give us the same daily mini Murdle? Emerald didn't have the pencil. Good cafeteria. Good cafeteria. Agent Fuchsia was in a different place. I will use this for this stuff. She was in the computer lab. Agent Fuchsia was in the computer lab. Where does she have a laptop? Computer lab? Good cafeteria. And this one says, the graduation cord was found by a computer from... What? Okay. From the 80s. Graduation cord was at the computer lab. Graduation cord was at the computer lab. She had the graduation cord. She was in the computer lab. She had the graduation cord. So it's not Agent Fuchsia. Yeah. She had the graduation cord. It was him. Or Emerald. I swear we did this one before. I swear we did this before. We did this one before. I swear we did this one before. It's not titled the same way. Deductive Logical cracks the case of the distracting machine. Mini Murdle for February 10th, 2026. Okay, well, we got that right. I got that right. 2 minutes on. You think I would get it faster if I'd done this one before, but no, I'm distracted by the fact. Never mind the distracting machine. I'm distracted by the fact that this is actually the same one as before that I've done. No idea. Talk about distracting. All right. Is it more fun if I read the story when I do the grid and just like let's just do the note-taking one quickly? I'm still trying to sort out the format for this. Maybe it would be better. Okay, so if we wanted to take notes to solve the mini Murdle, which actually wouldn't really, it's not that hard, but if you want to take notes, so Senor Emerald had person who brought a sharp knife had a history together. So you'd say Emerald didn't. We could do part of this in our head. Emerald didn't bring a sharp knife. Let's keep that in our head. So Emerald, not sharp knife. Agent Fuchsia, not study the stars. That would be the campus observatory. Agent Fuchsia, not the campus observatory. Oh, Gray's this one might need to remember. Good cafeteria. Oh, Gray. So Gray, good cafeteria. That one we need to remember. Well, these two remember, and that one is the good cafeteria because we have to click on that. It's not so easy to look at that reference. Oil electric was contact. Graduation cord was found by a computer from the 80s. So graduation cord, let's just say graduation cord, computer lab, right? That's the location. So we got two locations. Gray was in the good cafeteria, cord was in the computer lab. Laptop was used to commit the murder. Right? Okay, so Gray wasn't in the computer lab. Gray was in the good cafeteria. And Agent Fuchsia was not in a place to study the stars. So Agent Fuchsia had the cord at the computer lab. Right? Agent Fuchsia with the cord at the computer lab. And then Agent Fuchsia was not in a place to study the stars. Emerald and the person who brought a sharp pencil had a history together. So Emerald didn't have a sharp pencil and he didn't have a cord. So Emerald had the laptop. So Senor Emerald had the laptop and he was not in the computer lab or the good cafeteria, right? So he was at the other location, the campus observatory. And that's our answer. Senor Emerald with the laptop at the campus observatory. And to finish the rest of it, we've got Fuchsia, cord, computer lab, that's actually solved. Gray is the last weapon. The last weapon is a sharp pencil. Ah! My delete button on this laptop. Right, so we've got Earl Grey. Agent Fuchsia. Earl Grey with sharp pencil in the good cafeteria. Agent Fuchsia had a graduation cord in the computer lab, but the murderer was Senor Emerald with a laptop in the campus observatory. I'm still befuddled as to whether or not this actually just like generated the same puzzle that I've had before. Okay, so now let's do this. I'm gonna read this out. Not a lot of story in the mini Murdle. Detective Logical cracks the case of the distracting machine mini Murdle for February 10th, 2026. Logical never forgot his first few cases, but that was only because he never forgot any of his cases. However, this one was particularly memorable. Earl Grey. Suspects. Earl Grey. He comes from a long line of Earl Greys. Yes, those Earl Greys. No, he doesn't sign autographs, but he always does have some bags with him. He's 5'9", right-handed, with brown eyes, white hair, and is a Capricorn. Senor Emerald is an Italian jeweler of great renown. Senor Emerald has traveled the world in search of rare gemstones, which are always falling out of his pockets. He is 5 feet 8, left-handed with brown eyes and black hair, and he is a Sagittarius. Agent Fuchsia. She's technically a 000 agent, which means she has a license to kill and a license to commit tax fraud. She's 5 feet 8, left-handed with brown eyes and brown hair, and is a Virgo. Weapons. Sharp pencil. Back then they used actual lead. One stab and you die from lead poisoning. It's lightweight and made of wood and metal. A graduation cord. It would be an honor to be strangled by one of these. It is lightweight and made of cloth. A laptop. The machine you work on. It's connected to every distraction ever made. It's medium weight, made of metal and tech. Locations. The Good Cafeteria. There are 2 cafeterias on campus, and everybody knows this is the good one. It's indoors. The computer lab. Here they have the most advanced computers that money could buy in 1982. That was also indoors. The campus observatory. You can study the stars here, and a secret underground esoteric group uses it for astrology. That's also indoors. All the locations are actually indoors. All right, so we're going to do this by using the grid. So your Emerald, the person who brought a sharp pencil, had a history together. That means, so laptop was used to commit the murder. You know, you check off that laptop was a murder weapon. So this means Senor Emerald did not bring a sharp pencil. Senor Emerald, not sharp pencil. Agent Fuchsia was not in a place to study the stars. That means she was not at the campus observatory. Earl Grey was in a place coincidentally referenced in Dan Obsidian's famous unauthorized autobiography. Let's just read these because this is amusing to me. The following excerpt is from page 83 of How I Murdered My Husband and I Done It by Dame Obsidian. Did I call her Dame earlier? I meant Dame. I recall the events surrounding the death of my husband rather clearly. I heard footsteps in the Good Cafeteria. I was wearing one of my better hats and thought I looked quite dashing. Inspector Aretino had underlined this passage and written coincidence beside it, but was it? All right. Earl Grey was in the Good Cafeterias. That's what we were getting out of it, right? Good Cafeteria. Right here. This is Good Cafeteria. Earl Grey, Good Cafeteria. With the pizza. Right. Which means, so Earl Grey was in the Good Cafeteria. Agent Fuchsia would have been in the computer lab. And Senor Emerald was in the campus observatory. So we solved that already. Right. And this clue, one of Logical's contacts in the August band of the Red Goblet gave him this tip. A graduation cord was found by a computer from the 80s. So, graduation cord was in the computer lab. Graduation cord, computer lab. Right? But Agent Fuchsia was at the computer lab, so graduation cord is Agent Fuchsia. And now we know that Earl Grey had the sharp pencil, which leaves Senor Emerald with the laptop. And Senor Emerald is the murderer with the laptop at the campus observatory. Senor Emerald, laptop, campus observatory. So to figure that out, you just go look at the weapon. What we know was the weapon, murder weapon. Alright, you can just fill out the rest of this. Easy peasy, that's done. It was Senor Emerald with the laptop at the campus observatory, Deductive Logical declared. While Senor Emerald at first protested his innocence, the entire faculty approved Logical's reasoning. This was one of Logical's first cases, and it helped him develop the skills he uses to this day. And that concludes Deductive Logical cracks the case of the distracting machine. We can check our full solution. Okay. Senor Emerald, Ancient Fuchsia was in the computer lab with the graduation cord. Earl Grey, sharp pencil in the good cafeteria. Senor Emerald, right? Emerald, that's a laptop. Campus Observatory, Earl Grey, sharp pencil. See, does it show Earl Grey, sharp pencil in the good cafeteria. Agent Fuchsia had the graduation cord in the computer lab. And that's it. That's it for today's mini Murdle as well. And we're done. And let's just quickly check our marot then. Murder Tarot with Inspector Aretino. We've got, yeah, so I guess the Murder Tarot always is whatever the mini Murdle solution was. Senor Emerald with the laptop at the Campus Observatory. Today's Murdle solution consisted of Senor Emerald, a left-handed Sagittarius, which suggests you have a lawless energy about you, and a laptop, which corresponds to some mysterious action. I swear they always tell me mysterious action. This will lead ultimately to the campus observatory, generally signifying an uncertain outcome. If this is what you desire, then you must seek out a laptop, metaphorically, today. Yeah, well, I'm going to be doing another game stream in a little bit. If you pay careful attention to these cards, you might learn something about yourself, or you might not. That's why life is a mystery, Aretino says, with a far-off look in his eyes. A left-handed suspect represents the paths of chaos, rebellion, and anarchy. This is not a day to toe the line. Generally, a Sagittarius suspect corresponds to that part of you that is optimistic, independent, and/or freedom-loving, or to those aspects of your life. A laptop is part of a tiny resort town, which generally signifies taking a break and/or the uncanny simulacra. Finally, the campus observatory is part of Deduction College, which generally signifies learning, and I think they're either saying education or deduction. I think education, they missed an A. Alright, that's it. You can share the marot, but it doesn't do anything except give me... What's it give me? Gives me that. Learn about your day with Murder Tarot. Yeah, no, we're not gonna bother. Alright, so that is it. I hope you all enjoyed. Let's just go back. Let's see if I can clear this. Let's go back to this and just clear the grid. Hide the grid. Alright, so no spoilers at the end of the stream, in case you didn't get to see the entire solution that we had earlier. Alright, that is it for today, February 10th, 2026. The main Murdle and the mini Murdle mystery puzzles are done for today, and they are solved. I hope you all enjoyed. Thanks for watching. But don't forget to and stay tuned for more Murdle mystery puzzles at some other time. I don't know when. I can't promise. Maybe on Friday, and maybe on the weekend. We will see. And later on, well, is it evening yet? Not yet. Later on this evening, Tuesday evening, I'll be back on YouTube with more Death Stranding Director's Cut game stream, and I will be there chilling with my game stream for a while. It will be in 4K HDR on my YouTube. Tot later. See you all later.